Hey, welcome. It's our podcast show with Stephen and I, Winston. Today we have a special guest. Yes, it's Mike from Thermaltake. For those who don't know what Thermaltake does, they're a Taiwanese manufacturer of PC cases, chassis, power supplies, cooling devices, and of course, gaming accessories. Its main headquarters is in Taiwan, Taipei, and we'll be talking to Mike about some of Thermaltake's newest and latest products, and of course, the recent expo that they had recently. So, Stephen, what have you been up to?
What have I been up to? I've been up to a few things over here, mainly troubleshooting our podcast here, which you can listen to at any time that you want. But, with any new technology, there's always going to be troubleshooting. We had to pull some plugs. We had to, cycle some power switches. But I think we're good to go. We're sounding good. We're looking great. I think we're going to have a fantastic show talking about Thermaltake and all the fun things that they do, including at the very end, we're talking about some bicycles.
Yeah. And, I've been recently looking into the Nanoleaf, the RGB kind of things you stick in the wall. They look pretty cool.
Yes.
But, it's something that Thermaltake might have in the future. Okay, let's get cracking into the podcast show, and let's dive in and bring in Mike. Mike, so tell us, all our viewers and readers and listeners, who you are, what you do, and where you're from.
Well, hey, thank you guys for having me on the show. I mean, it's great to see you guys and talk to you guys again. My name's Mike Fierheller, a.k.a. Thermal Mike, as far as who I've become myself here with the company. I mean, I've been here for, we're going on 9 years now with Thermaltake. And, we've been definitely making adjustments or, switching gears for a lot of this stuff that's been going on. I mean, it's something that I would see you guys in an event. We are now doing more virtually. So, of course, here at Thermaltake, we're adapting as well. And we've been doing our podcast, kind of live stream ourselves and, trying to give people like a little weekly bite as far as like what's going on with Thermaltake and, be able to show you guys some new stuff that we got here. We just had the expo last week, as you guys were mentioning as well. So exciting to have some new stuff. Is definitely a big thing for me. It's definitely difficult as a manufacturer right now. Trying to get stuff out, trying to get, everything, not just making the product, but the packaging, the shipping. If you guys can understand what's going on in the world today, it's definitely not as easy as it was.
Indeed. Yeah, there's apparently a lot of the shipping companies have just said, okay, well, we're just going to put fewer boats out there because the fuel costs are up, and we're going to pack you in more like sardines. And if you lose your order, well, tough luck, guys.
Especially out in the ocean, right? Especially out in the ocean.
I know.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then, we're as a global company, too. It's not just stuff coming over to us, but it's going to other regions as well, and trying to get that all sorted out, like you're saying, like with the shipping. But we're at the same time, we are super excited to have some stuff. We've had some great ideas, and a lot of it, I would definitely says that it takes a little bit more time to get stuff put together, but the idea is there, and I'm excited for some fresh new stuff from Thermaltake, especially some of the stuff that's going to be available here, at least for holiday time, for Q4 for 2022. And then, we got more stuff definitely planned down the road for going into next year for 2023 as well.
Hey, Mike,
nice.
You do a lot of the streaming. I noticed you have a weekly show, is that correct?
Yeah.
A weekly
Thermaltake,
show. And,
Thermaltake Live.
Yeah, and you always say, hey, stay tuned. But also you have the same kind of show at all the exhibitions, because you have like a booth in these shows, and I've seen you're in there doing your own thing. And that's quite interesting, because a lot of booths don't have that, like a live kind of session on YouTube or live streaming, talking about the products. And when I see you in that tube, it's like, looking all nice and, studioed up and everything. That's something that you don't have on the other booths. And that's something I think a lot of people are interested, especially if they can't join Computex shows. Because most of the shows where you see all the videos, they're already done. That's like a few days ago, and they're all edited. But if you have a live session, it's quite unique, and I think that's something which I've seen Thermaltake do, and maybe possibly others. And we were planning to do something similar, aren't we, Stephen? Right, with these shows.
Yeah. In due time.
You show the products right live, because people can't make it. And then now you do your virtual shows, which isn't kind of timed with the existing shows. And that's okay, because you can have more planning. You can do your own thing. And there's no rush, right? You can have a session with any of the guys out there, whether it's publication, whether it's reviewers, whatever. It's all kind of like bit more planned, like today. And go ahead and show us what you have in your catalog of new products.
Yeah, I mean, I got a first bite on a little bit about what you mentioned, because that was one of my favorite Computexes to date with Thermaltake, was when we had that live booth built into the booth that we had called Thermaltake there for Computex. That was the last one that we did before, the whole COVID thing happened. And one of the things I think that was the biggest joy for me was that not only did they give us this cool little like radio station space to kind of like do the interview stuff with, but like we invited like 20 modders to Taiwan, flew them out, they built their custom PCs and everything, and I got the honor to be able to sit down with them in the booth, have their system right there, and be like, hey man, what's up? This is awesome. You're from the other side of the planet, and I'm from the other side of the planet, and we're both here together to talk about your PC. And then we would have a live chat. People could interact with us. And I think I grabbed on that pretty early on, even before the whole COVID thing happened. And this has definitely been something I've been so excited for, being able to talk with you guys or do our weekly live stream shows that we do, and then just video stuff when we have product launches too. But yeah, we got some new stuff to talk about. And if you guys want, I could swap over here and show you guys some of the new things we just got.
While you're doing that, I'm going to give you some praise. So credit where credit is due. A lot of these live streams really test the presenter, test the brand, and of course, test the knowledge of the product. You have so many presenters out there that are reading off a teleprompter. I am guilty of that because sometimes I don't remember everything. But being able to think on your feet, being able to interact with the audience, and also with your guest that's directly beside you, and providing value and excitement on the spot without multiple takes is a real skill. So, props. Appreciate it
so much.
Yeah,
I learn from the best, man. I get to talk to all of you awesome reviewer people and all you guys that do this stuff, like on the, way more, I would say, than what I was at least doing, right? And get to talk with you guys, and I fed off of that. I read what you guys were saying, how you guys would talk and everything like that. I mean, I remember, I've talked to some guys and they're like, yeah, just go. Be confident about it. And I'm like, bro, you're so good, dude. You're so good at this. You know what I mean? And I fed off that. It gave me a drive, I think. And I think that was where I just got a passion for it, man. And I'm just excited to be here. Just, you know what I mean? It's great to be with you guys. Let me switch on over here. Let me switch on over here.
Okay, so while he's switching on over there, look at what we got there. It's a green Mini case.
So you know what? That case there, is this it's a P6, right?
So this is our P6 case. I actually built a few of these already because the case is out. But one of the newer things about this is definitely front and center right here, and that is these new distros that we have specifically for both the P6 and the P8.
My one thing, you say distro. I know what a Distroplate is. A lot of people don't know what Distroplate is. Explain. Distroplate. What is it?
Absolutely. So that's why I wanted to bring. So let me give you guys a little bit of a nice, front and center here, because this stuff can be kind of confusing for some people to really try to understand. We went from a cylinder type. You'd fill the coolant, pumps at the bottom, pump moves the coolant, completes a circle. You got your liquid cooling. Now with this, it's kind of like a waterfall, or water channel is another term for it, which a lot of people use. I think distro or distroplate has been like the cool little water cooling slang that you would say for something like this. But with this new design, this crystal clear design that we have here with the new distros, and this being specific for both the P6 and this big monster here being for the P8, it gives you the pump performance of a D5, so you get that amazing D5 pump performance, but then we give you more options. You're starting to see more, like these are going to be like your outputs, where now you have multiple locations that are more streamlined for running your tubing and being able to have like that nice, clean, crisp tube come through, and then having the other ones for your return, so that you can hook everything up. Like you see here, with this beautiful P6, which I got to tell you is my favorite P6 I've built to date. And this green coolant that we have flowing in here, and just having, like, if I can set this up, just bring it in a little bit so you guys can see a little bit more of like the inner workings on how everything's kind of just connecting up together we're showcasing a lot of our new Ultra products, our TTRGB, of course, and everything. But, you know, we've talked a lot about, like, what's the next step for RGB? You know, like, what do you do? How do you do better?
That's a word again, RGB.
Oh, can we turn it off?
And honestly, the one thing I've been saying with a lot of our new Ultra stuff that we're doing, the Your Ultra, Your Way, and a lot of that stuff is that the one thing better than RGB is LED. And I really think that something like that can really catch on. Where now
are you
you'll
talking about like LED screens, like in like monitorings, temperatures? You guys going to produce one of those?
So like in this case right here, you'll see it. We got our new MX2, which is a DIY LCS water block that has an LED screen built in.
Yeah,
and of course, we have the little memory cover as well. And I, to me, this is our very early starting point. I want to see a screen here. I want to maybe even see something in the front as far as like a screen on the case. We make cases, we make power, we make cooling. We got a lot of cool places. I
mean, you know the power supplies, the square boxes, they're really boring, right? Cables going in, cables going out. Hey, you put a little LCD screen on there, you know, make it like looking nice.
It needs something.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment you have those LED RGB kind of like I think it's just a logo that goes on a Thermaltake one. Hey, the LCD screen.
And that stuff is just going to just keep adding more and more to the options that we like to offer, you know, for the systems like this. And the thing, too, to also take away with this is that with the case, when you see our Distroplate mounted in here, it actually replaces the front panel. So,
yeah, I noticed that. So the front panel where you used to have fans, right?
Yeah.
You mount the fans, you take that off, you put the Distroplate in.
Yeah, you don't have to deal with seeing all the little lines and the fan mounting and everything like that.
Cabling.
You pull this bad boy out of there, and then now you got this is just an acrylic wall of awesome.
That would be
right
a great place for an LCD.
We told them that it's not, this doesn't look cool. Like this, I don't want to have to look at my liquid cooling through here.
No.
And I thought this was a nice upgrade from what we've been doing before with the universal stuff, because we have the universal distros already. This is more specific with it.
And obviously, before people were like, oh, I can't do that at home. You know, what are you showing me here? This is all custom. This is all stuff that you can buy off the shelf at the TTE store or any of your favorite computer retailers. You can actually build that system yourself at home easily, right?
I mean, it's gotten easier, at least, I could tell you. Getting graphic cards and everything was definitely troublesome for a lot of people.
That's hard.
hey, we're starting to see some stuff in stock. That's been fantastic for a lot of people. We got some new tech right around the corner with AM5 and Intel offerings. NVIDIA's got some neat stuff. And I think a lot of people are kind of waiting to see what's going to be the next best thing. I mean, as technology just continues, I mean, so will we. And being able to just come out with some new things like this, just to show a little bit, because I'm a big fan of water cooling. Hey, stay tuned, everybody. And that's been kind of like my thing. And I mean, we got new water blocks coming as well with our new Pacific. We got a W9. We have our W8 here as well. So there's a couple new water block designs that we got coming out. No RGB. These are just straight blocks. Nice and clean. Machine.
Yep, definitely.
It's nice to have options. Of course, we're going to have all the RGB, but just like with the Toughfans and everything, we came out with a fan that doesn't have RGB. Are you serious right now?
People want them.
Yeah, well, you could be a Noctua, beige and brown. That's kind of like...
Hey, I like that color. It's really nice. Don't knock
Noctua. Everybody's got their own little thing, and I dig the colors too, man. They've been around for how long, right?
Oh,
I mean,
God,
they've had a legacy of amazing cooling products. And I think that as we go forward and we do different things, we've had some new little inventions, I guess you would say. So,
yeah, tell us about that. That's pretty interesting.
I mean, this thing's like 85 pounds, by the way. The thing ain't light, man. It ain't light. But taking a product like this, for example, this is our Ring Trio. Or everybody would look at this and go, that is our Thermaltake Ring Trio fan that we have. But now, with a new option, we've actually been developing this for a while, and we've been talking about the biggest question, I think, with everybody with RGB is that when you're doing a push-pull configuration, however you'd want to do your liquid cooling, this always looks awesome with the fan front. But the one thing not everybody did like to deal with was the back of the frame and this kind of block.
That just
doesn't look that good.
It just looks sucky,
Right? I mean, it looked like you focused on the RGB here, but you just said, whatever, that's going to be facing the radiator. No one's going to care. But then push-pull said, hey, hi, I'm push-pull and everything like that. I don't want to look at the back of the frame. So it gave us an idea to think, well, what if you could make a reversible fan blade that would then allow a swappable design?
Look at that!
You broke it.
Look at that! That just falls right off.
I just broke it.
You just broke it.
Is it? Tell me, is that magnetic? Like, how do you? Or you just mount it on? Tell me a little bit more about that. How it works.
So on the tech side of things, this is a hydraulic ball bearing design. So with the fact of it just being a hydraulic ball bearing design, these things pop out fairly easily, and you basically are left with your motor and everything on the inside there, as well as where the fan or propeller would then mount into the motor itself. And then, of course, there's magnets and coils in there as well for this as far as how the fan rotates. But this being something so simple to pop out, because, hey, we work with a lot of modders. They love to paint this stuff and do a lot of modding and everything. And we're like, hey, I've had them ask me several times, like, hey, Thermal Mike, can you just pop these out? And I'm like, yeah, they just pop out. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah, it's hydraulic ball bearing, man. You probably haven't dealt with those maybe too much, And it's like, oh, bro. Like, I'd get the message back like 15 minutes later. And they're like, oh, hey, that came out real easy. I'm like, yeah, dude, it's super simple to paint this now, right?
That's awesome. That is awesome.
But having, and it might be a little difficult to tell. I'm not really too sure. Let me see if I can put this down a little bit more. But if you can kind of tell from the blades as I kind of turn them a little bit, you'll see one is one way and one is the other as far as the curve of the blade. We don't reverse the motor. We just change the blade direction so that the motor itself still spins at its proper full RPM, which I believe we're targeting around 1,500 RPMs for these or even higher. So it's basically going to keep up with our current product that we have with like the Trios, and then being able to reverse the blade, spinning it backwards, and not losing.
Allows the airflow to go through.
And then there instead, because like normally, right? Everybody always like fan. This is always the front. This is always the intake. The air goes in this way, and it comes out the back. Well, us here at Thermaltake said, and guess what? That's no longer going to be a scenario because now we can just switch this out, and now this right here is blowing air this way. So this is actually now the intake by just changing the blade. And this is going to help a lot of my push-pull family that is tired of staring at that, and they want that advantage of the RGB right here. And I think the Trios is a good option, and I can definitely see us doing more of these in our different options that we have going forward.
Quick question. So that could be used with the existing Trio fans, or does it have to be a new set of Trio fans?
So we're going to be marketing this as a whole new product. This is going to be called our SWAFAN, and it has a swappable fan design. We're going to sell this in a 3-pack option, so you'd get the 3 fans, and then you would get 3 extra blades like this that are the opposite. We're even going to also include, and I don't know if this is just kind of like a sample, but the hydraulic fluid syringe, and then this will be something where you're going to apply that oil to the replacement blade.
Like WD-40, like screw it a little bit in.
Just a little spray lube in there. Swap it out and get it all figured out. And we're trying to make sure that like our manual's clear on how it explains and how everything's going to be going forward with that. I don't think it's going to look like this. This is just what they send me because it's very early on. I'm still waiting on the actual mass production sample of this, but super excited about that, especially with the rotations. I mean, you got to think about it too. You guys are so used to seeing a fan spin one way with RGB, and to think about how you could have a fan spinning 2 different ways, but looking this way every time, it's actually going to give a different look. I'm waiting to get more fans so I can actually build out something to showcase it with. I only have about 3 of these right now, but we'll have more information on that in that regards as well. And I know this for a lot of my people that I talk with all the time. We have a new controller that's also going to be coming forward. This is going to be a new, I guess you would kind of call it like a master controller, but this is going to do everything we've done before and then some. And this is going to be the new standard from us with updated firmware to help improve a lot of the stuff that we've had issues with to finally get a lot of that corrected and get everything back to one page. And with this going forward with stuff like our new trios to even our new, segue, our new ToughFan RGB that we have coming out as well.
Wait. Those appear silver or white? Those things.
These are actually transparent corners.
Oh,
we've been doing
RGB.
a circle. We've been doing a circle of RGB for ever and ever.
So the frame is completely RGB then?
Now it's the frame that's RGB.
Neat.
And there's no ring. There's no ring. So,
that's nuts.
And I got a quick little demo here. I want to show you this, guys.
Plug it in, right?
Yeah,
okay. So the frame is all RGB, and the fans are just pure black because of the black blades, right? That look kind of weird, but
it'll be
unusual.
different. At least there'll be something different in the RGB space. Yeah. Look at that.
Oh, there you go. There's the RGB kicking in. Hey.
And then see, like, if I have for something like this, the one of the things that kind of caught my eye about these. Besides the fact that these look like an amazing, cool little like turntable DJ kind of look to them, but the way that these are kind of set up, how they connect up to each other, they also have illumination on the sides. So one of the big things for me, I'll just set this one down, but so you can kind of see is that it does have a black frame, but there's a lot of perforated holes right here that give actually a lighting, and you get it on both sides of the fan, just like so. But the thing that was really big for me was that a lot of times with your, your fans next to you, you're looking at that side wall of the fan blade itself. It's usually very dark or plain. And I think just the little details of, putting some holes right there to give a little bit more illumination out. And, also coming out with a new controller really kind of adds a lot to it. Like if I take this and, for example, I have my stream setup already going on and I have a blue color with it. So I'll take this and I'll plug my controller in, and now my controller just synced up to the color, and now these fans are now blue. So that way I get like a cool little, it syncs up, and this new controller is going to definitely be a nice future product for us for a lot of our new cooling options, that we'll have. And I'm really excited about that.
Nice. All right, moving on. What we got else?
Okay, so there's some cooling. Give you guys a little bit of cooling. We talked about distros. We talked about fans and water blocks and all that fun stuff. I mean, one of the newer things, of course, that we do is RAM. And, of course, we're going to be ready with DDR5. I think a lot of it is like with 690, we were doing a transition period. We're DDR4 and DDR5 boards. I've been there when we did DDR3 to 4 as well as 2 to 3. I remember that. With 680i chipsets and stuff. And always that transition, it's a big one, right? When we switch up, hey, now RAM's DDR5. Wait, what speed is it up to? It's 6,600? 6,000? What the? I'm at 3,200. Why do I need more? So 790, that's coming, right? With the new 790 chipsets and everything, I think that's going to be a lot of neat things. People are going to be, kind of drooling over like, hey, what can I get out of it now? And, we're going to be doing our XG. This is our Thermaltake XG memory.
You got like the whole ToughRam series, right? For like the Thermaltake 1, is it? The XG, and also your RC models.
Like brand new model. Here, let me switch. Let me go back over here so you guys get a little bit. A nice little.
Look at that.
We got this.
Yeah. So satisfying.
Of course.
ASMR.
Brand new. So this is. Yeah, no, right. That's all here.
So satisfying.
Yeah. That sound.
But this is, so this is our XG, which is our latest or newest model, I guess you would say, for our Thermaltake RGB. It's got 16 LEDs along the top. It's a nice slimline module, and this will be for our DDR5 options. We also have our ToughRam RGB, as well as, you said, the Z1, as far as like some different levels of price points for different memory. And we kicked off with DDR4, and we're definitely not stopping there. So you'll be seeing some more DDR5 options coming from us as well. So definitely wanted to kind of just give you guys a little bit little show of that. Show you guys some of the stuff that we got going on there as well.
Yeah. I've actually tested the DDR5 RC, ToughRam RC models, which is the water cooling version. And they use, I think they're Hynix chips, SK Hynix chips, and they overclock really well. So
Hynix has made some moves. Hynix has made a lot of moves over Samsung, B-Die and everything, and it's being even more accepted into, I would say, the extreme overclocking market too. I mean, I've had some people hit me up and go, "Hey, we didn't have RAM before. Like, I'm getting these new people like, hey, I'm a extreme overclocking RAM guy. What's your, nice to meet you.
What have you got for me?
Hey, what do you got for me? I want to try the new
records.
stuff.
Let's break some records,
Dude, Those guys are those. That's why those guys are awesome, man. They're those addicts, those junkies, those overclocking junkies we love. And they just want to get their hands on a new thing. Yeah. You never know what you can get.
Me and Stephen have been talking about this. It's these guys that pushes the PC market further and further. Without these guys, remember those back in the day, the Intel Boost and all that kind of stuff? We wouldn't have got that without the overclockers.
Yes,
right?
That's right.
Steve?
I mean, someone has to go racing in order for them to push the limits of what's possible, right? It's just like in any motorsport, right? When you're looking at vehicles in any sport, you want to push the limits of human and also technological advancement. You got to put someone out there that's willing to push those boundaries before you can get a trickle-down product into something. Everything that's recreational comes from a professional pushing those limits and giving us better performance every single day as they're pushing the limits of technology and human capacity. So that's great.
And there's so much to learn from RAM. Like, I mean, I'm an overclocker. I love overclocking. I've delitted CPUs before, for my personal stuff. It was a little risky, but I got great results. I was super excited about that. But like memory and stuff, I just said XMP and I didn't really worry too much more about it, right? And then we started making RAM, so it started making my brain think like, oh my God, what else can we do with this stuff? So it's a new thing for me to learn too and dive in further with stuff like memory where, I knew about it, knew how to set it up, knew how it worked and what I was getting out of it, but I didn't know like the overclocking side, like even a little bit, so it's neat to have something new to learn myself.
It is something that few people kind of dive into because it's like, you overclock the CPU. That's where you spend the water cooling, the money, right, etc. Right? But even myself, like, I mean, I'm just running ECC RAM because I need it to be stable. Right? I can't overclock that stuff.
No, and most people are like, I just said XMP and it just works. And that's it. It just works.
Yeah, the hardest part of memory overclocking is actually the timings. The memory
voltage
timings,
too, right?
And the cache latency, the voltage, everything. It's so I wouldn't say finicky, but if you change a little bit from one, cache latency and the voltages a little bit, the whole thing could crash. So it's a very, very delicate kind of balance. But once you find that sweet spot, oh boy, those memory performance in terms of speed and Windows performance, you can actually see a difference. You can actually see and feel difference, literally up to 15 to 20%, even 25% performance increase on the overclocked memory if you can. So that's why. But anyway, moving on. What else we got for us? Come on, tell us.
Okay. So definitely something big that I want to show you is one of our newer cases, but I got to move this behemoth off the desk. So give me like 30 seconds to do a quick little screen switch here, and I'll be right back.
So for 30 seconds, we're going to look at these tubes over here. Oh, and some guy taking a bath over there. That's amazing, right? So Mike has actually told us that that's actually a Barbie pool. But for some... Yeah,
Barbie. Oh, you mean like Barbie and Kenny, kind of like the.
But for some reason, watching this scene right here actually makes me want to go to the bathroom or something like that, or like take a drink.
I don't know. Yeah, the drink.
Oh my God,
definitely a drink. But that's not a real water cooling tube reservoir thing.
I don't know if it's actually going through a system, right? But there he can explain. So is Barbie pool going through a real system, cooling something?
For DCMA purposes, that may look like a Barbie pool, but it is not. I might have borrowed something from one of my daughters to make a fun little scene with TT Dude chilling out. But how the fun part was recreating that. I got to set up like some black panels, and I had it like kind of set there. And the funny thing was because, I mean, water cooling, reservoirs and stuff, as far as what I would do, I bent a tube, and I had it just 180 and 180 and do a little water fountain kind of thing. and then I left the cap off. And literally off screen, I'm sitting up here with a 1-gallon jug of distilled water, and I'm pouring it into the reservoir as I clicked go, turned the RGB on, hit record on the camera, and then I got a good solid 10 seconds time lapse out of it.
There you go. This is the manual recording on all the special B-rolls that Mike does.
I never got to do something like that, and the fact that Thermaltake has given me the creative opportunities to be able to do fun things like that, I love it. And everybody seemed to like it too. I think it's time we go digital with it. I've been thinking about making like a digital version of this so we can kind of set it to go forward and everything, but it's definitely been a staple for the stream. Definitely.
That's good.
So,
all right.
Big things. Well, not necessarily big things, but
big
at least
fans.
for, placement-wise. Well, we got some big fans. Yeah. So this is our new View 300 MX. This is our new mid-tower case that we have coming out. It's not available yet, but it will be soon. And this is, of course, the Snow Edition. We're going to be making this also in the standard black case. But we got some different options this time as far as how we're laying everything out for a case. Now, one thing for sure is that when you look at it, it looks pretty similar to like our S300, but definitely with some more upgraded or options. Kind of give you guys a nice little tour around the case there. You'll see that we're still offering the reversible or rotatable PCI Express bracket, so you can go vertical with your graphics card, have a nice solid native type of mounting system where you're not running cables through the back and everything. It's just built in, right? 120, 140 mounts for your fans, because, hey, I dig those 140 fans, and I think it's pretty cool that we actually do this more often than not with a lot of our case designs.
What's the fans in the front? What size are they?
So these 200. Are 200 mil fans that they're putting up here in the front. And at the moment, I have this laid out with one of the 2 panel options that the case is going to come with. This is going to actually be a second panel that we're going to include. So you'll have the option to swap out either from here or from there, depending on what you want to do.
Is that tempered glass?
Yes. Absolutely, baby. We've been doing the tempered glass for a good bit and everything. It's 4 mil thick, I believe, as far as what this is going to be, which is pretty standard for our mid-tower cases at this size and price point. And I mean, you get just your standard, like right here, the panel, side panel like this will come off. I really like that we do that white border around the edge here. So this, kind of cleans it up from, like, say, you're boring black.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, and then kind of opening up the inside so that you can see a little bit more on the inside here.
What about the panel that you said? It's the 2 options that you have, and show me that panel again.
No problem. So with the panel, basically, I honestly don't know what's going to be the pre-installed first one. It might actually be this, or it might be that, depending on what it is. But the box itself will have both. I'm actually waiting on the final sample of this, and we're going to be doing a full video for that, so you can definitely look forward to that. But as I pop this off, the thing that I do definitely like about this, especially as a builder, is that the cables, the wires, all the stuff for the I/O is all built into the case on the frame itself, where I can remove the panel without much worry of pulling cables or just having something attached, and I have to deal with that too just to get something like this off.
Right. And that cheese grater is like very, very similar to another project.
I gotta ask: have you grated actual real cheese on it to see what kind of patterning that you get? I mean, I'm sure that the flakes and everything would be really nice off of that.
Do we want to pause?
Grater.
I'm trying to give a minute so you can reset. Sorry.
There you go. Tell us a little bit about cheese grater.
So, you like our new cheese grater design that we have here for this. I haven't actually grated any cheese, but because I still have to build in one of these and everything to kind of show the product off. But I got to tell you, we've done this on a couple other models already, and I do like us being able to show airflow options too. The glass is always nice. We've been doing the glass and the show and the RGB and all that stuff. But I mean, for a lot of us that definitely want performance, I definitely think it should be an option as well. So I think it's really nice that we have a dual panel solution with this. It's not something we always do, and I think it definitely would be something we're trying out to see what the market thinks, you know, as far as like which way would you go, A or B? What's your take on the View 300, right? And see what people like. I mean, 200 mil fans can easily be swapped out. You can do 140 and 200 mil options as well. I mean, you can do mount radiators on this if you want to do a front mount, but the we all know that's really not the best place for it. But taking the filter off here on the top, you'll also see that the top is also, you got that nice perforation there and plenty of fan mounting options, radiator mounting options as well that are perfect for stuff like this. Now, with this as well, and a big thing that I think we do more than most is side motherboard mounting. So like with the motherboard being here, what I mean is that you can mount cooling next to the motherboard. Being able to fit up to a 360 AIO in this place. Yeah. Like if I take the, as you see even right here on the back panel, there's another filter, and this kind of
nice.
Gives you a nice, like, hey, they thought about airflow and they thought about this kind of, you know, being able to, we need exhaust, right? So with the back panel being able to be removed, and I can take this out with the perforation, you can see.
Hey, 1 second, Mike. Did you do that cabling yourself?
You know what? I spent a lot of time on it, okay? I spent a lot of time.
You know, the cabling is the nightmare for any PC builder, right?
Yeah, it's like, I totally understand.
It kills you. But, yeah, I've seen some crazy modders with some nice cabling, no? And it just makes a hell of a difference. Yeah.
You spend the time, you get the quality, right? It's either you want it, is it going to look good? Do you want it fast, or do you want it expensive? Yep. And you got to pick two, right? You got to pick two. But, yeah, with the controller in here, I mean, it's just an option, right? We've done ARGB models, which this is, and we've done non-ARGB models, too. So if it's something where you would want to do more of an extensive cooling and you want it your fan your way, then get the standard edition. But if ARGB is good enough, these 200 mil fans in this built-in system, you can add on to this with our pure ARGB fans. And I can link them right into the controller, and it just goes straight to the motherboard, 5 volt, syncs everything up. You even also have a built-in case option too. So like if you were running a motherboard that didn't have like ARGB, or, you know, or you didn't even want to deal with that, the case has a built-in like 7 different modes with animations and colors, so at least you get something, and that can all like kind of sync up together.
So what would you use that for? Like I'm thinking just off the top of my head, you either do a resto mod where you put like an old school motherboard in there, like your 8-bit BH6, and you know ramp it up, or you do a server workstation setup where they don't actually have RGB type setups. So I mean, by the sounds of it, I guess with that panel up at the front, you can actually adopt the both markets, right? Because I know that a lot of people are picking up older hardware just to, you know, kind of play with it, put Windows 95 on it, and kind of have that nostalgia. But we also know that those systems tended to run hot, right? So if you wanted to overclock them, you needed today's technologies to make it happen, right?
Yeah. I mean, and with a lot of this too, you get newer options as well. So I mean, like you get USB, but with this too, there is also Type-C on here, just to mention. So you do get a Type-C connection right there on the top, which is nice. And then, yeah, with the cooling options, I think that's the thing. Like, would you talk about, like, say you had a retro system, but you wanted to do a facelift on the case, but you still want to keep some of those same features with what you had before? Because, hey, maybe you don't want to change. We get that. These are just giving you more and more options with that. Same with, like, how we have a storage tray right here. I mean, this gives me those classic 2.5, 5.5 mounting, so you still have those big honking hard drives with all your photos and everything on there. We think about you there too, so that way you still have an option for that. I can still do a 240 AIO on the side and keep the tray, or I can ditch the tray to go 360 with the AIO.
The tray is removable, right?
Absolutely. Okay. And then we also have...
Mike, look at the PSU cover. The PSU cover?
Yeah.
You have a panel there. Hey, that's already reserved for your LCD panel.
You know, I've been telling them about that. I've been saying, hey, this looks just like it would be a great spot for a screen. You know why we did this though, right? Because we came out with the first RGB power supply, and the one thing that Kenny was saying is that, well, we're going to make an RGB power supply. People need to see it. We were doing power covers. This was just solid. And we're like, hey, we need to put a window there.
We didn't used to want to see them.
Yeah, of course.
We didn't used to want to see them, but with bling like that, you definitely you paid for it. You paid money for that, man.
Right. And I mean, when you think about it too, as a case manufacturer, why can't we offer an optional power cover that would have a screen built in it as an added accessory? Not something that would be the standard that we would want to put in where the price point would be too high, but to be able to give people an option of something like that. Because again, I really think that the screens are going to be taken off here going into next year, and I think more and more people are going to want other than just some flashy lights, you know what I mean? They want a little bit more interaction with it. We always want more.
Yeah, I mean, people are now monitoring the temperatures, the RPMs, the CPU speeds, graphic card speeds. It's all, and you could program that in any way. I mean, I think Stephen knows about this. The Raspberry Pi units that they use, and they mounting those onto any computer devices where you can actually program it to do whatever you want on the screen. And
I was just thinking that maybe we just put your Twitter feed in there. I mean, that's good enough, right? I mean, you want to get angry, you can go look at the feed.
And we go, overclocking feeds. Yeah, your record's been broken. Oh shit! Now it's time to overclock. Yeah, that's right.
You know, it's funny you bring that up too, because I guess Intel's doing like a memory overclocking like competition right now, and we got some people like that, or even in like our Discord, that are talking about like, oh man, I was third place and I got bumped down, or this or that. And
it's like the epic battle between Chong Li and Frank Dukes, where he beat his record.
Whoa!
You broke my record. I break you.
Oh yeah, that's that crazy fight where you had to do blocks, and it was like an impossible move, but someone pulled it off, and it was like it was a history. It was made history. Hey, what have you got? Some new stuff there?
We're talking about gaming and everything. I got to take a minute too and comment. That is an amazing video where the guy sits there and counters every single one of those hits. It's just like a legendary thing in gaming. My God,
it's like, it was crazy. It was something like 17 counters, and then he had this much left, but he was just knocked it off. I was like, just KO. Was it what?
And they're like, it's impossible that he can block every single one, and it was like, the way that was set up and how that was executed was just, it's just one of those legendary things in gaming, man.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff.
Street Fighter.
And, I'm not a big Street Fighter person. I'm not big on playing Street Fighter games myself. I was back when there was actual arcades that we would go to, but not as much anymore. But, man, that was interesting. That was really cool to watch. Really cool to watch. So, speaking of gaming and all that stuff, too, I mean, you know us here at Thermaltake, we do like to cover a lot of stuff. We're doing case, power, cooling, memory, and then, of course, our gaming side, and even LCGS, where we offer our full turnkey systems now with our liquid-cooled gaming system. So not only are we offering the parts...
Wait. Liquid-cooled what? Game? Oh, it's part of the whole setup with the RGB.
You didn't know about that?
No. So we're now offering a full turnkey system, Windows installed, ready to go, pre-built out with your favorite Thermaltake cases, and we're now offering that as another option here for Thermaltake under that big umbrella we got. It's just more and more.
Nice.
And with this,
great. Okay.
We got our Argent. Now, we've had Argent out for a while, but what's different about this one is this is a low-profile keyboard. So this Cherry MX. This one right here is our Speed Silver. We also have this, I believe, in red. But this is the low-profile keys. Kind of think like a laptop. As you can see, look how low-pro these keys are on here. And this is a different option that we have coming out with our Argent series already. It comes with a nice little wrist rest that you'll get there as well for the keyboard. And then we even have our new...
RGB?
Of course, it's going to have the RGB. It's going to have its own individual option for software and sync with all this stuff, like with the green PC that you saw with my P6. This would plug right in and just start turning green right away.
And then you'll be able to control all the RGB settings via the keyboard, right? If you program it correctly with your software and everything.
The keyboard itself can either mimic what the cooling does, or it can do its own standalone thing with the function key. And one of the things I've really liked about our stuff is you don't necessarily need the software. You can just do your own thing, where if I press function key, F8, 9, and 10 actually turn into red, green, and blue. and you can sit there and press it with 10 different levels to kind of customize your own thing. I'm a big fan of making like WASD, spacebar, control, and some of my popular keys, like a blue color with everything else white, for example. Or just do something that kind of stands out. Maybe the arrow keys over here, or some of the other, like just like hot zones. You know what I mean? I'm getting a little older here in the gaming. You know, I need that.
You need to see them.
I need that visual. I need that visual sometimes. You know, as you're getting older here a little bit.
Where's those keys, man? It's like, is that next to F?
Okay,
no,
I take that back.
Shit, I pressed the wrong key, right?
And you know, you highlight that.
Maybe
bad boy,
RGB is a good idea on keyboards. Okay, I was going to say, hey, black lights. That would be messy. That would look gross.
I mean, you can do that cool little ultraviolet thing too. I mean, one thing to mention is that with like RGB and like the color wheel and all that stuff, we do have like a value you could set for like the number for red, green, and blue. So you can get like that fake ultraviolet color. And I've actually tried it with like green coolant. It looks pretty neat, but I still think like a blue really kind of gets, especially stuff that's got like a UV glow to it and everything. You can do a little fake UV, but I've definitely mentioned like, hey, we should add an extra bulb in there that would give us UV, as just like a real UV, not the fake UV,
but if you've been
real
eating Cheetos,
UV, you know what I mean,
or doing other things in front of your keyboard, it would show that. That's kind of gross.
Got that white
Cheetos
t-shirt.
will glow.
I got that white t-shirt.
Will it glow? Seriously?
I
never tried that.
I honestly
like, dude,
would say I haven't
you know
tried that
how
either.
when you're there's these flashlights that they sell on Amazon, and you're actually supposed to look for mice droppings and stuff with them, and they're UV. So you actually pick up like genetic material with them. Yes, Cheetos glow.
And Cheetos will glow. Is that what you say? Oh shit!
It's the chemicals.
Is that the chemicals in there? You put the Cheetos.
It's got because there's like something in there or whatever. Like I got that little UV flash. I take this with me on all my events.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
And all that stuff. No, I'm just kidding.
You scan the bed.
Like they do on the news.
Yeah.
Hey, are these sheets clean?
Yeah.
I'm going to give them a good review or a bad review. Let's
especially
check it
Las
out,
Vegas.
Check it out.
But like stuff like this is it's neat stuff. Neat stuff. You know, CES.
You got to know if someone had fun in the hotel.
Stuff like that.
Or you don't want to know.
Or you don't want to know. You know
I'm just going to bring a sleeping bag.
You shouldn't bring the flashlight. You know what I'm saying?
Does that flashlight, like the UV flash, also detect like the currency that counterfeits and stuff like that?
I think it lights up. It lights it up like
who carries cash?
I don't have my wallet on.
It does do the thing.
It does do the streaming pants. I'm sorry,
but I think it's a certain wavelength. Right?
Oh, okay.
It's a reflectiveness and like a stop sign. Like if you shined it on like a stop sign and stuff like that we have here in the States.
And
I mean, that thing really, it's got the reflective tape,
splash,
stuff like that on there. And everything.
You can have a Thermaltake, logo.
It also
with
helps
all
you
that
find out that if
just,
you're walking by a wall, if there's a splash pattern, that's probably not water.
This is true. Because it, to not quote Bon Jovi or anything,
true.
but
it's not the air conditioning, that's for sure. It could be the air conditioning.
Oh, crazy.
You never know.
All right,
and
Mike. So keyboard and mouse. Tell
keyboard,
us.
and then this is the new mouse. This is an early sample. As you can
is
see,
that
it
wireless?
doesn't have. So this is actually going to be a wireless and wired model. This is our new Damosys mouse that we have. So this is a different mouse. For me, this kind of gives me a lot of the Theron type of style from what we've done in the past, as far as like a bigger, like taller mouse. I mean, I got a pretty big hand, and I'm more of a claw grip guy than a palm type of person. So it gives me a pretty decent little feel for it. But it's not high end or anything. I think this is going to be more of a straightforward mouse that we're going to have. I don't have pricing on it specifically. A lot of this stuff's all still TBD. But it is neat that we're going to have both. You'd get the wired version as well as the wireless, and the wireless will have like the little switches on the back, and little caddy here to keep the USB key in there and stuff like that, so you don't lose
travel,
it.
Exactly. Good travel mouse. I mean, gaming mouse specifically, they're actually really great travel mice. The fact that they have the on-off switch, the fact that they're high resolution, the fact that they have long battery life, awesome. They work really well.
And it's super light, too. I think one of the big things about this one is that we're going for a very light feel to it. It's a lot lighter than the other mice that we've had here. But yeah, all the information will be soon on our website as far as a lot of the stuff that we have going out. We also have a P3 Pro version case that's coming. I don't have that with me today, but I'm definitely excited to be able to start showing that there soon. We talked about that at the expo last week. I know we got a lot of good feedback on that.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be our final P3 design.
Right.
I don't know if we can really do too much more, but it's got a lot of cool features in there that a lot of the other P3s, like we kind of like looked back at the history and read the book again and read chapter 1,
P3s.
2, and 3 and kind of figured like, hey, you know, we could do this with that and kind of make one even better. So
I did a project a couple of years ago. I think it's 2017 or 16. I did a project for Thermaltake. It was called Project Orancio, right? And the reason why I call it Orancio, the Orancio is the orange color of the Lamborghini, and we did that for the P3. It was painted orange, everything, the whole chassis, and and it was great. We did that, and the orange coolant. I did the orange coolant as well. So with Thermaltake, water cooling components, the mountings, the fittings, the water block. So that's pretty cool. And it was hosted or actually presented on show in one of the local retailers. So yeah, this is a Thermaltake sponsored build. It was pretty cool. P3, I remember that, nice. But talking about P3 and other chassis, more recently, I noticed there's a lot of people going for the Mini-ITX, right? That format is been, always been there, but for a recent, like maybe a year or two, is blown up. Mini-ITX systems are everywhere. Open chassis, mini ones, and all sorts. The one that you had was the Tower 100. I remember.
Yeah. That
was pretty cool. And is that something that Thermaltake will be looking into to make more Mini-ITX cases? Because that's big. That's growing.
Yeah, I mean, as something as big as, it's a small market, or it's a big market for small things with Mini-ITX. We've been doing Mini-ITX solutions for a while. I mean, even back to like our 20-year anniversary with like the Level 20, the Core series with like our V1 versus our V21, and so on. We would have Mini-ITX option. Then we would have a Micro ATX option. And then, of course, an ATX option. And then you guys know we do the Extendo, Super XL EATX. Oh my goodness, we do the big ones too. But there is definitely a market and a place for everybody that's looking for a nice compact solution. I thought the Tower 100 was fantastic as far as how they micro-sized it, even though it's not even as wide as a 240 radiator.
It's tiny.
Small.
It's tiny.
Because a lot of people,
Well, with the 120 radiator, Thermaltake makes, again, very limited because most AIOs are 240s, but having a 120 all-in-one that is needed to fit in these Mini-ITX systems. I have to tell everybody, Mini-ITX systems are really difficult to build because they're so compact, right? So imagine fitting a water cooling solution, an AIO in there with a radiator, with a fan, with a water block, and the tubing, everything else. It's like, remember, it's in a compact.
The space, right? And I mean, same thing goes for the motherboard too. Like a lot of those features you're used to on an ATX form factor, they don't got the PCB space for all those fun things like an LED readout that tells you what's wrong, for example, and other stuff like that too. So there's different realms for, I would say, Mini-ITX with that. I mean, PCI Express slots are limited too, but yeah, I think we cater to a lot of it. I mean, we fit all the form factor stuff.
I've just noticed your background there. You got those Nanoleafs going on. Those LEDs.
I do.
Is that something our Thermaltake will be doing soon? Maybe in the future. What future stuff have Thermaltake going to be looking into? Tell us.
We've looked into stuff like that already. We actually have a Nanoleaf tool that is a software that we have on our downloads page. And it actually allows the Nanoleaf, like this one right here, to link up with my TTRGB Plus system.
Oh, really?
And it will mimic what you're doing on the system as far as how you set it up. The challenge I have here is that it's got to be on the same Wi-Fi network as far as the system, as far as it goes. But then that gets confusing because I'm in an office environment with the Barracuda, the network, and all the stuff, and I'm not even on Wi-Fi here. So the fact that it's kind of hard to do like demo stuff with it, but yeah, for people at home that already have Nanoleaf and maybe they got a Thermaltake custom cooled system, You got options.
You
can sync it up or do it separately.
Kids now these days, they love that stuff. Stephen, you're going to be looking into that. Your kid's going to be looking, I want RGB, I want stuff on the wall.
And it's cheaper, but they are a good Canadian company, Nanoleaf. They are headquartered in Toronto, Ontario. So good people right there. I think they have a little bit of Taiwanese influence back there because RGB stuff comes directly from there. So there is a little bit of an influence there. I did meet them at a couple of CESs, and they are putting out new products and everything. They have a bamboo line that's very eco-friendly and green and stuff like that. So I mean, that's pretty classy, right? That's something that you could actually convince a wife to put into the living room, right? So I mean, it looks pretty good. But they do.
Okay. They change the panels too. They have different panels too, other than just the triangles. They're doing squares and little different squares and octagons and stuff. So it's neat to see them expanding on that. And the fact that we're touching at least a little bit with that. I would say our software definitely needs to be more optimized for a lot of the newer panel stuff. It was something that we did like years ago, but never really went forward with any particular updates. But I think that would be something that we could definitely do more with. I think a lot of people like to have an option to either sync it simply because they don't want to deal with all of that. Yeah. Or if they do, they have the option to go either way, right? It's your mod your way. It's your room your way. And that's what I think Thermaltake's really trying to bring forward. It's your RGB your way. Or it's no RGB your way. It's your way. So
RGB. RGB has been the future, and it will always be the future for the next coming futures.
Yeah.
TT dude.
In this multiverse.
No, I did have a question regarding, Thermaltake is for everyone. There's something for everyone. They're building a brand new case. But over, COVID, when parts were scarce and everything like that, you actually had a contingent of people, and I don't know if that was true on your side of the border or even internationally, but there were a lot of people actually starting to salvage, do corporate systems and turn them into gaming systems. They actually salvaged old Dells. They were refurbished and everything like that, and they tried to build them in the systems. I, for one, got into that way before that because I realized that there was actually a clearing house of systems in Dell refurbished, and I got myself a really sweet precision workstation, which I still use today. It had the capacity. But one thing that we don't have when we go that route to buy something that's inexpensive but also very powerful is the ability to upgrade the cooling, which it desperately needed, upgrade the case, which it desperately needed. Was there any ever a thought that, hey, you know what? We have this whole green PC community. Could we produce a series of adapters for those power supplies, coolers and everything to kind of get them into a brand new chassis and get them started on the road to upgrades?
Well, I mean, with a lot of that kind of stuff, I'm a big fan of like the retro things. And I mean, I know that there is a certain line that you cannot cross when it comes to the way the power design is, as far as, PS2 compatibility and then stuff before that. It really kind of puts a kind of like a line on certain things, but you still have those other, because I would say, you look at a case that was, maybe like 10 years ago, there is not enough cooling options in there. In fact, it was just a whole giant the whole front of it was storage. It was just tons of storage. You had optical drive options. You had hard drive options. You were talking more about hot swappable features than you were talking about AIO fitments. And that whole thing has changed because I think, like when we're talking, like even with something like a Tower 100 where you got a small confined space, a 120 radiator just doesn't cut it as much for today's hardware cooling demands. I mean, 240 used to be pretty standard for just about everything, and now it's kind of like the starting point. And it's like we're looking at custom cooling, we're looking at 360, bigger radiators, water cooling stuff. It's scary, right? Some people are like, man, I'm just going to stick to air cooling because it just works, and nothing changes with that. But I think water cooling is definitely starting to adapt more, and over the last 5 years especially, you can see it with not just with us, but with other case manufacturers, that design change for opening up more options for cooling, to put it here or put it there or put it over here.
I think one of the challenges is that if you have a Dell or an HP or something like that, they do use a somewhat of a more proprietary design matrix to put their cases together. Like the holes are in the right places, but it's not quite right when you want to put it into a P3. So, if there was some way to kind of, hey, you know what? Thermaltake has these brackets you just put in there, you can immediately adapt, because I actually had to put washers, like serrated washers underneath there to get the spring tension correct, just to install a upgraded CPU cooler, because it desperately needed it. I can't go water cooling because you don't have the thin ILM. But if there was some way to kind of bring these worlds together, there are a lot of systems out there and people will just hang on to them longer. But if there's one more turn of them getting into a new case, cooler, maybe even the power supply, then that way they can upgrade their graphics card and a couple other things and do maybe a couple more years into it before they swap everything out for the next generation DDR5 or DDR6. Just a thought.
Oh man, dude, it's like Gen 4 came and went. Gen 4 came and went so fast that it's like I blinked. We're at Gen 5 everything already. Wow, great.
Oh yeah, PCIe Gen 5. The speeds of those though is pretty impressive. Pretty impressive.
Well, I mean, look at Unreal Engine 5. Look at what's going on with that stuff. Look how cool that future is going to be for us. And, you know, us here at Thermaltake, we might not make CPUs, we might not make graphic cards, but we're going to make that enclosure for you to put all that stuff in.
Yeah, they had a demo of Forza 5, right, with the Unreal Engine in there. Oh, my God, it's so realistic. I thought I was watching realistic. I thought I was in F5. You know, I mean F1, watching this cars running. It was so realistic. The roads, the background, everything, the cars.
Did you see the Superman one? Did you see the Superman one where they have Superman flying around? Oh my gosh, it looks like a movie. Like they filmed a drone flying through there.
It's like, I'm so excited. Yeah, DC's new movie. It's like, no.
And I mean, you know, another thing too, just to mention a little bit, is, you know, it's like power stuff. I mean, there's a little bit of change going on with power. We announced ATX 3.0. Last week at our TTX.
I was talking about power. So now you have these new graphics cards coming out soon, right? This year, whatever they're going to call it for the GeForce RTX 40 series. Then you have Radeon 7000 RX 7000 series. They apparently take up to like 500 to 600 watts of power.
It's crazy, dude. It's more than what you can get out of an 8-pin.
Yeah. That's what I mean. They had a new pin out, so I'm not sure how you guys is that a converter cable, or is it a new kind of interface onto your power supply? It's a converter cable, right?
No, it can't be. That was what the 3000 was. The 3000 was a conversion.
It's a new power supply, with a new interface for those graphics cards. Is that what you're saying?
Oh my God!
It's literally a new form factor for power, and probably one of the biggest changes we're going to see in a decade.
Okay, so now with that said, power supplies. You need probably a minimum of 1,000 watts to power those graphics cards, right? A minimum. 850 ain't gonna do it, man.
Jeez.
If you have a graphics card, a 600 watt power supply requirement. Well, no. 850 is like, what?
Well, a lot of our 850s, right, would do dual EPS, but 750 wouldn't. So 750 would be kind of like where your top end of like a single EPS or single 8-pin would be with PCI Express. 850 at least gave you the option for a secondary. To give you like a secondary
1,000 would be on the safe side, but for your extreme enthusiasts, you want 1,002 or above, right?
Well, I mean, okay, you know, sky's the limit here, and I'm going to tell you that we haven't made a 1,650 watt power supply before, and we're making a 1,650 watt power supply.
1.6 kilowatt power supply, guys, for the PC. 1.6 kilowatt. I'm looking like Doc Brown from Back to the Future. What? 1 gigawatt for how many watts?
1.21 gigawatts, and we're gonna need an antenna to strike lightning to boot our system here.
Excessive.
Be ready.
Oh,
I'm so scared to see how big the card's going to be.
Oh, shit.
I mean, are we going to seriously have to make a bigger case to support a bigger card? When you talk about vertical mounting, you talk about power for it, you talk about cooling for it, because we do a lot of those things, right? What's a water block going to be like on a 4090 Ti Plus Super? You know what I'm saying? And then you look at like some of the other stuff that's going to be out there too. But hey, dude, still, I mean, like a 4060, 4070, that's going to be a solid card. And we'll just have to see what kind of price they throw it at. You know what I mean? How's that going to affect 3000s? But power is definitely going to be a big one. They offered a converter for the 3000s, and that was kind of like them buying some time. And now with these new Gen 5 power supplies, with what PCI SIG is doing, with what NVIDIA is doing, with what Intel's doing, ATX 3.0 form factor mounting, the new 16-pin kit. There's lots of tech going on.
Do they give people like time to adjust, or did they just throw it out? Because I mean, imagine like this year you just invested in 1,000-watt power supply or 1,002, right?
Right.
That's a, PCIe 2 point whatever ATX. But then now new graphics cards, thinking, okay, 1,000 watts is going to be more than enough. But then you realize the power sockets ain't going to.
The power supply, this whole standard, this whole new power supply thing, all the new graphics cards, they basically Windows 11'd the entire industry. The Windows 11'd everything, because you can't have Windows 11 unless you hack.
I mean, look at
the registry to make it work, and even then, you're not guaranteed updates. The TPM issue.
Or the TPM issue, isn't it? Right? I remember.
Yeah. Well, Well, they fixed that with BIOS updates and here and there. They put a Band-Aid on it and stuff, and a lot of that's fine. I mean, 790 is going to be an interesting step because that's going to be, in my opinion, like a true DDR5 board. We'll have to see what that platform does. I'm excited to hear what people like you and others as far as what the feedback's going to be in the market for that. And, for us at Thermaltake to be ready on the power side of things, I mean, we've been working with people for a while now. A lot of that's still all under NDA, of course, but for what we did announce last week with like the 3.0 stuff, it's really exciting to see that 12+4 or that native 16-pin type of connection start coming out. And it's going to be a part where, when are we going to kick it off? When's it going to roll out? And how's the market going to adapt to it? It's kind of like how everybody's going through do I buy a DDR4 system or a DDR5 system right now? Because I still get that question a lot. And it's like, well, and do you wait for 790 DDR5 versus getting it now? I can see a lot of people, you're looking at that. I mean, just kind of like when we went from Gen 3 to Gen 4 graphics, it really didn't matter that you had a Gen 4 card. You didn't get that much more performance out of using a Gen 3 slot.
I've mentioned this. I mentioned this in my show. The DDR5 and PCIe 5 and the new power supply and everything. It's going to be a massive generational push in terms of difference in terms of performance, because you need new graphics card, new RAM, new board, new power supply, and
new everything.
For the AMD, AMD's got like the new AM5 socket with their Ryzen 7000, etc., etc. It's going to be a phenomenal, generational jump in terms of performance. That's something guaranteed. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I mean, we're also, I mean, just as you mentioned, like AM5 and stuff like that. I mean, we're already looking like AIOs are fine. We're not going to need a new bracket for those to adapt to the new socket types. But then stuff like our custom liquid-cooled stuff, even like the stuff that I showed, for like AM5, there's going to be a tension change because of the height of the CPU, not necessarily the keep-out zone or, where the holes are on the board. Those are going to stay the same, so we don't have to worry about the bracket, but now we got to worry about the tension, like Steven was saying. And that was funny because that reminded me of this, that we're going to have like a screw change of some sort. I'm waiting to see what we're going to finalize for that, and then what's it going to be, what's going to have at day one, and what we'll need like an upgrade kit, for example. I mean, we've been there with AM4, we've been there with LGA 1700. We're always on top of that, and we're always talking to all those those guys to make sure we have the cooling solution. I mean, that's a big thing for us.
Okay, so Mike, I heard that Thermaltake's got something new. Not tech related. Yeah. It's got two little round things, and you can actually sit on it. Tell us more about that. What is it?
Fans? What, round, like ring fans?
Skateboards.
No. So last week we did a soft launch for Thermaltake Bicycle.
Oh,
so
okay, bicycles. Okay.
In Taiwan, where we launched this amazing Thermaltake bicycle store. As far as I'm aware, it's not like everything in there is like a Thermaltake bike. We're working with tons and tons of like renowned professional bike manufacturers, and we're almost like a distributor. And I think the message that Kenny, our CEO, is trying to bring across is it's the lifestyle. If you guys knew how we did Luxa 2 back in the day, or how we did TT Esports and his passion for esports and everything, he's just bringing that passion for bicycles in a different way, but under the Thermaltake umbrella with Thermaltake Bicycle.
Right? Work-life balance. You need that exercise, yeah?
And I mean, think about people getting out nowadays and everything as far as what's going on and stuff. I mean, just a nice peaceful bike ride can really kind of reset someone, where it might not work for everybody, but again, we're not trying to push that we're making a Thermaltake bicycle to say system. Like, hey, it's our bicycle. You know what I mean? It's a lifestyle.
So is that only available in Taiwan, or is it going to be a global thing, or just Taiwan, right?
I don't know 100% yet.
Yeah.
We won't do a USA store if that's the question. I mean, I don't think that will be something that would fit better. I mean, dude, we opened. I actually got to go to Taiwan and open the Thermaltake liquid cooling store, and that was really neat. They had an area where you could go in and bend the tube. We had custom cooled systems that you could buy, pre-order, all that stuff. So yeah, we've done that before. I haven't been back to Computex since, sadly, because of what's been going on.
Yeah, that's true.
But we got the. I mean, be excited to. I know Kenny will want to take me to the bike store when we get there. When we get back.
The bike store is just bikes, or are there any e-bikes there? Oh, there's something.
That's a good question. I haven't seen any e-bike related stuff with that, but they do got a lot of accessories in there.
Yeah,
and a lot of stuff.
Full-on bike accessories and like helmets, elbow
I think it's fair to say
pants,
the
shorts,
the
shorts.
The jerseys.
He's got the Thermaltake shirts and everything. Kenny's all about that stuff, man. He goes in with all that stuff, man. We got a lot, but a lot of it is, kind of still, over there in Taiwan right now. It's not like we have any of that kind of stuff for sale on our website. But it is definitely like a lifestyle kind of thing. And I think it's really neat that, we're just kind of branching out some different options. And so, I mean, come on, we did furniture. We did desks, and we did chairs now.
Yeah.
We're doing RAM. Like, what's next?
So,
Stephen, what are we going to do next,
You can ask Mike about some of the stuff that, what's the...
To your bike thing, I think it's fair to say that there's a bigger picture here. Taiwan is turning into a destination for innovation. And also lifestyle as well, too. One of the things that has helped people lift themselves out of this kind of a utilitarian thing was the bicycle. The bicycle used to be a utilitarian work thing. It used to be for the working class. But now in Taiwan, there's been a reinvention of bicycling where it means that if you can ride a bike for recreational purposes, you've elevated yourself beyond just working, right? It's something special. It's something to be embraced. And I think that Kenny and a lot of different brands have figured out, hey, you know what? You're right. This used to be for work, but now it's something that we can choose to play rather than work. So I think this whole thing is very much Taiwanese, very much Asian mindset. You're right. It's not, Mike, it's not going to come to North America, but I think it's a good testing and proving ground and a learning experience for Kenny, for Thermaltake, to figure out what's next. What do we need to do next? These exercises are important. It's just like going racing, Formula E. You can spend billions of dollars on a Formula E team, or you can build a bike shop and figure some stuff out cheaper.
It really kind of expands the term "cool all your life" that we've been doing here for 22 plus years now. You know what I mean? Like, get out and get the nice cool breeze on your face. I mean, you can relate it to that just as much as a CPU water block. And it doesn't mean that we're not doing cooling or we're not doing cases and that stuff's all still the same. It's just another chapter in our wonderful little TT book.
All right. Hey, Mike, so talking about sports and health and stuff, I heard that you are an avid skier. Is that right?
You call snowboarding? You call him a two-planker
wanker? Okay, tell us a little bit more about that.
You did, didn't you, Winston? You take that back.
But I've been boarding for well over 10 years.
Nice.
It's a definite big passion of mine. Every now and then, when I get a chance to get up to the mountains and stuff like that, it's definitely a sim. We're in Southern California, so most of the stuff, as far as like where we go, like Bear, or even Mountain High's been probably one of my more favorite ones because it's a little bit closer and it gives me a good experience for what I get up there. I've been doing season passes to Mountain High for a while. But I mean, my wife snowboards as well. I've been getting my kids into it too. I mean, I've been doing it for a while and I have fun. I don't do as much of the stuff that I used to do, like the fun boxes and the rails and the half pipes. Man, I used to have an I got ice burn one time from eating it, going on a half pipe, just messing around. I'm not an X Games guy, but
I remember you kind of like busted your hand, didn't you, one time? And we had a live show as well, didn't you? And you had to cancel it.
Well, that was a different thing. That was with a drone that attacked me here at work.
Okay,
but I can give you one memory that I didn't forget, and that was I was taking a pretty big jump, and it was at Bear Mountain, and I came down wrong. It slipped out from under me, and for whatever reason, when I fell down, my arm hit the ground and hit me, and I knocked the wind out of myself. And I literally was sitting there going,
hey guys, hey, listen, guys.
It's pretty interesting.
For those who don't know, Mike isn't a small guy. He's like 6 foot. How much?
I'm 6'5". I'm
6'5". No, he's
gravity does not like me.
He's doing all these tricks, man. It's like he's 6'5". It's like he's almost almost a foot taller than that. But I'm just saying, like he's well, into that sports and stuff, and that's really good. That's really good.
Yeah, lot of fun. I mean, I like to get in a good game every now and then too. But man, I love to hit the mountains and do snowboarding. Maybe we'll do Thermaltake snowboarding next, and I can get Kenny to buy on that. With the bicycle stuff.
I think Kenny has a plan. I think Kenny has a plan.
I would love to.
About the Canada skiing.
I would love to. Anytime, man. Sign me up. I'll be happy to go boarding with you guys. I am not the kind of person that would be like, yeah, I know how to do it. And when you get there, you go, I don't know what I'm doing. I am not that kind of a person at all. I would fit right in. I've been to, like Tahoe and everything like that, North Star, Squaw. I've gotten to get out a little bit too and do some other places. But not all that much, but have fun. Yeah. See,
well, I
really would love to
think there's a reason why.
There's
ulterior motive that Kenny has introduced bicycle, because if you're snowboarding, what are you going to do in the summer? You're going to ride the bike. You got to ride the free ride bike. You got to do the 20-foot drops, man, on a bike.
Well, I mean, for me, I've been an open water certified scuba diver for 20 plus years now. So I like to dive in literally and do a lot of diving. I mean, I've even had stuff where I've taken a GPU block 70 feet down, and just to have some fun pictures with some things for work. And I'm on vacation. I am on my own personal vacation. I'm not getting paid for work to do this. It's just a passion of mine and everything. So I literally dive in for real, not just with my PCs that I build, but in real life too. So I do like to have fun, and I do cool all my life. Absolutely.
Cool all your life, guys. Remember, it's all about work or gaming. You need to balance your work life and work game.
Absolutely.
I wonder if there's
it's all
always have that balance.
I wonder if there's an ET basket
Steven,
that Kenny
any
has
last
put
thoughts?
on the bike to cool a system while he rides. I mean, that would be the ultimate air cooling. It's overclocked. It's dynamic overclocking.
We need RGB. Come on, we get some.
No, it's
RGB
good
rings on the wheels, man. We need to do that.
Dare I say?
It's so good that you guys are stretching it.
We put fans. We put fans in a chair. We put fans in a chair. Maybe we put fans in a bike seat.
Butt sweat.
You never know what they're going to do next.
All right, so it's been a fantastic podcast, guys. What do you think? I think we need to give it a close now. So I'd like to thank Mike for taking his time out, and of course coming on the show. It was fantastic to learn about of course Thermaltake and what Thermaltake does.
He's
and of
not
course,
a skier.
Skiing.
Stop it.
And stuff like that. So and of course, sorry,
man.
Snowboarder. Snowboarder. Yeah.
What'd you call me? No, right. And it's a pleasure to get to talk with you guys too. I know I get to see both of you usually at certain events and everything.
Yeah,
and with a lot of what's going on, it's amazing to get to talk with you guys just for a little bit here. And I hope we can do it again soon, or be able to catch up one time. I miss you guys. Hope you guys are doing well and staying safe and healthy.
Where can people find you? Where can people stalk you for all of the tidbits from Thermaltake and other stuff?
Well, I would definitely say you can check out our Facebook page. I even have my own Thermal Mic page, but of course you can check out Thermaltake USA on Facebook. I also stream weekly on Twitch. We'll be streaming tomorrow, doing some Elden Ring gameplay on an LCGS system, and we're at twitch.tv/Thermaltake Live. And then, of course, we got all of our global YouTubes and Facebooks, as far as such a big company that we have. But those are the little things that are us here on the USA side, as well as our Discord. We have a nice little Discord community, which is just, talking about liquid cooling.
And you can find me
little
on
things.
Instagram and Twitter.
It's an adventure every day.
At Stephen Fung, where I do lots of things. And I also talk about lots of other things. But if you want to stalk me, that's where you stalk me. But Winston, where can people stalk you over there?
Yeah. Oh, you can find me. I'm in the UK right now, but I'm in Canada, all over the place. But yeah, you can find me. You can find me
it's
on
all lies. You're in
Instagram. at Winston Chim, of course, Twitter as well at Winston Chim. But it's not tech stuff; it's all personal, kind of like lifestyle stuff. There, cool all your life.
But yeah, hey, you guys let me know your take on what we got here from Thermaltake. You know, for the people that watch the podcast, what you guys like? You know, what's your take on it? Is a big thing that I would like to put across to everybody. How can we improve?
All the comments.
You know, and definitely get your guys' feedback.
Of your life. Down below, please.
Down below.
We'll be reading them. Don't worry. Don't worry.
All right. Until next time, it's the podcast show from Stephen and Winston. Until next time. See you soon. Bye.